And we're live. Welcome to the Gordox Pub. We draw, we write, you enjoy.
And sometimes we fight.
Okay. No, when I first got on, it was like, you know how there's a delay anyway? But I was hearing the delay on your end.
Oh, we kind of.
Like I would talk and then I would hear myself talking.
Yeah, that's not my end though, because I would hear on my end.
How brown.
I'm just saying, it sounded like it was, I mean, again, it was, well, it's like a delay. I don't know. But it's not there now, so who cares? Hey, Eli.
What you want today? Shop brand.
I think we're...
You gotta come over this way.
Want to shop brand?
He went to Walmart shopping.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. This will
You
have
like
channel
that?
supper. The channel state channel that hand.
He said he had chicken nuggets for supper and Swiss roll.
I had a chicken nugget for supper.
Saturday. Putty. Doing putty.
You got
Saturday. North side putty.
Saturday at a party.
Oh, yeah?
Saturday's his cousin's wedding.
Awesome.
Looking going two. And two. Going. Looking. We're one on night. One at 9 o'clock.
His brother's working at Walmart at 9.
New shirt. With that shirt Saturday. Brand new.
He's got a brand new shirt for the wedding Saturday.
And pair pants. Brand new.
And a pair of pants. Brand new.
Oh, sorry about
Dude,
that.
what, dude? He sneezed. Usually sneezing makes him laugh, so.
Oh. Oh.
So mom, not from mom, May. Monday.
No school tomorrow, yeah, Monday.
Monday.
Huh.
We're sending my brother if I die.
May 17th is birthday.
Oh.
51 years old. 51.
He'll be 21.
Okay. Monday. Not today.
This Tuesday?
Yep.
Not this Tuesday. No. Friday. Not this Friday or next Friday, the one after.
Yeah.
21.
It's wild.
Okay.
17th.
Okay.
Friday the 17th.
Yep.
So it'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks. It's a hospital. 2 weeks now.
Yeah, he was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Yeah?
You see me. You saw me.
You see me.
Egg. We're good. Hospital egg. We're good.
Hospital's eggs are real good.
Toto. And good song.
You
Toto.
just sneezed again, see?
Yeah, but I muted that one.
Yeah, but it cracks him up when he hears it.
Oh, sorry. Oh. Yeah, I don't want to be real loud, I guess. Oh. I don't know. God. I'm about to have what's known as my house is seizure, I think. Ugh.
Sneezers, yeah, we call them that. Call them that when they're uncontrollable and there's a lot of them. Oh, there's another one.
Ah.
You can say anything else, or you just want to say see you later, or you hang out for a little bit?
No. That's all.
You're going to do your stuff?
Sure, camera. Or.
Switch camera over, because I want to do my stuff.
Bye, Eli.
I'm with him. So, this is a Latino person.
Oh, shit, yeah. Not that it really matters. But
Well, I don't know. It doesn't really, I guess, but it might give me some ideas.
okay.
Do you picture him as a big individual or a small individual or a thin individual or a tall individual?
Well, I'll tell you, it kind of depends on what you want to go for, because
That's what you pictured him as.
I know, and I'll tell you my two things that I would tend to go with, and they're two opposite things. On one hand, you know, the more mass he has, the more he can store. There's just more room. So I kind of saw him as a bigger guy, but if you want to juxtapose him compared to Mastiff, then you would go with a more athletic and lithe picture, I think.
Well, Mastiff is short, so they could both be big.
Okay. I'm just saying I could kind of see I could see both ways working. So I don't care which way you want to do it. So if you want to make them big, let's make them big. If you want to make them thinner, let's make them thinner. Oh. Take that off my screen.
Huh?
Oh, I'm looking at my big giant screen, and some of the stuff pertaining to work was up there, and I don't want to look at that right now. So I'm not going to. Way to put Twitch up so that we have, so I can kind of see what's going on there, I guess. There we go. Yeah, this sneezing thing, God, it just came all of a sudden and it's like knocked the wind out of my sails. Oh, I'm being the absolute worst co-host. I'm sitting here just staring off into space, waiting for the next sneeze. Sorry. I'm going to try to do my job better.
Well, there haven't been super long periods of silence, I guess.
Well, I'm just saying it's probably, I mean, I guess it depends. My wife was watching something, probably a crochet video or something like that. And whoever was doing it was like, do you guys want to have more of the ASMR stuff? Or do you want to have me doing the voiceovers? She was like just asking her audience. Whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. So there is a market for ASMR videos of people creating things.
Yeah.
So, it's not necessarily a requirement that we fill up everything with talking, although I gotta tell you, normally if we're talking, it goes by a heck of a lot faster. So,
well, yeah, and then
no problem talking.
Like if we're not talking, then nobody really engages. Not that there's a whole bunch of people that engage now, but
hey, it'll come. We have 2 viewers right now. and only one of them is probably me. So, because I'm on stage. Okay, so what's up with the 2 pages?
Well, one I'm drawing and one I just kind of laid it out to see if it's working.
Oh, so one's more sketch and one's more...
Yeah, one's more of an idea so that I'm not floundering on here for half an hour trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
All right.
I guess I don't really have to draw his whole body the first time or whatever, but I'm just trying to get an idea. Like, one of the things I've been thinking about is that most futuristic comics, no matter whether you're doing... Let me rephrase that. Most futuristic media, whether it's post-apocalyptic or not, don't really have them running around in skin-tight suits. Right. You do have, Star Trek and shit like that, but for the most part, I don't believe that it would be much different as far as it would be, you have a suit, clothing, something, you know what I mean? You're not just running around in skin-tight skivvies or, superhero clothes, because that would be a whole different alternate, right?
Right.
That's not what we're imagining, I don't think. I guess, we haven't really been on the same page with what we've been imagining, and I think that makes it a little bit hard. Because if you're imagining one thing and I'm imagining something completely different, then something is going to throw us off, right? Well, I think that's kind of what happened, is that we both had different visions on what was going on. Or what should have been going on, you know what I mean?
I literally think her wrong. It's just like, why the hell are we arguing?
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I was just trying to design a page and get to the art, but so I'm not trying to dredge that up. I'm just saying that we need to be on the same page with our thinking, so that I'm not drawing shit that you're not thinking about writing about,
Yeah.
And I'm not, and you're not, writing about stuff that I have no idea what I'm drawing, That's basically what I'm saying, I guess. I think we were both thinking of way bigger scopes than I was trying to talk about, I guess. I wasn't all off until it's all or nothing either way, but I'm trying to design stuff, and those designs kind of should fit what the expected technology is. I see technology, but it's just for lack of a better word, if there's not much for power or whatever, you're not going to mass produce some stuff. And yeah, granted, the government will probably mass produce more than private citizens, obviously, but
well, when you think about how many millions they spend on, a missile, and they fire hundreds of missiles, you're just like, wow, that's a lot of money. Now, granted, that money filters down, because somebody had to be there to build the missile, and, and all the soldiers and whatnot. But still, it's one of those things where you start looking at it, dear Lord, they certainly have plenty of money. But, and I don't, so I get envious, I suppose. But, yeah, that thing about we were talking in broader strokes than what we needed to, that's kind of what I was thinking later on that night. I was like, it doesn't, so whatever. Yeah, I'm not trying to dredge it up either. I'm saying,
right.
I feel stupid for arguing it, and we can move on.
Yeah, like I the whole thing I was saying, like even earlier, like if we get together and talk for a few minutes before the stream, and or like if you're designing something, I tried to tell you not last night but the night before that I had been reading that, and I was trying to come up with a design based on what I was reading. Right? It's that one sentence gave me a 3-page, or not a 3-page, a 1-page, 3-panel kind of short story.
Okay.
And that's what I kind of illustrated in that DM. Is that's kind of what I was thinking from what I had read.
And it's technically different than what I had talked about, but it's also not. Like it has all the important parts. And so I was like, all right, cool, we'll roll with that. It works. It's the same thing.
Yeah, you gave me one sentence, and from that I extrapolated and thought, okay, so someone's chasing someone, and then someone kidnapped someone. So there's two different things going on, but you were really meaning that it was a chase into a kidnap.
Yes.
But the way it was phrased, I didn't think that's what you were saying. So
well,
it was just, I know, miscommunication or misinterpretation, whatever.
Okay. And then we talked. It's good. Yeah, that's all that matters.
Right.
But,
you know, after today, I have an idea of what I'm doing. That's why I'm designing this guy, because if I'm doing what we talked about, unless there's a change to it, then I know what I can plan for. You know what I mean?
Well,
that's what I was looking for last time, was just to know who I was drawing and who I had to design, and then what I was laying out. Okay. Even if it's for 2 pages or 1 page or whatever, I just wanted to know what I was laying out. You know?
Right. And in that summary and outline, that was designed. The reason why I wanted that done, and I really got it done. I mean, you can look at the revision history. You can see it's pretty much done in one day. There was a little bit Thursday night because you had drawn Mastiff, and couldn't really get to it much Friday, so I did most of it Saturday, I think. Or Friday night, Saturday, somewhere around there. But it's not what I would call a finished draft. But that's like one of those things where you were talking about one of the characters that's coming up. You had no idea that it's a female character, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's obvious. It's in there. And then I got to looking, and I'm like, okay, I know I had her name.
Well,
and
you did say her, but it was like 2 paragraphs later, so I was already imagining a guy.
And so that was editing. I mean, again, I went through and I kind of, you know how it is. It's like, 3 steps forward, you step back, and then you fix a few things, and you go a little bit more. And then so that's what I had done. And so the part with her name in it got cut. That's just all there is to it. You can see what it was. It was on April 27th. I had looked it up already, because I was like, just so I know I'm not going crazy, basically. And I was like, all right, it has to be there. Because I couldn't remember her name either. I was like, okay, I know this is a chick, and I know I had a name for her, so what was it? So then I'm trying to
I just put the last name. I didn't get the first name, so.
Right, you didn't, because it was
wasn't
deleted
there
off
when I
of
read
that
it.
draft.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah. But I wanted you to be able to see, I guess, well, what you have. I mean, it's not a fully fleshed out script or anything, but it is, you can see beginning, middle, and end. your major characters are discussed. So it can see, you know where we're going. I guess you know that. Yeah,
Right.
it's planned. Um, uh,
That's kind of like last time. I had an idea of where it was going, but I just wanted to clarify a couple of things for the imagery, and that's where that's where
Yeah.
things came into, I don't know, misunderstanding.
yeah, it did, and it was dumb. And
But now we're on track, I think,
yeah,
or at least enough on track to go forward.
well, it's like I can't get into much, but so Tuesday night had that little fun discussion with you, and then Wednesday, work has so blown up, it's not even funny. And I was like, so then yesterday I was like, maybe I'm just the asshole who pisses everybody off. So
Yeah, I was getting that feeling today.
and then I was like, I don't even know if because I had more time and I could have done more scripting. But I was like, I don't know if we just screwed the pooch on that or not. And I was like, oh god. Plus I had to write this response, which took a good chunk of the day because I kept writing it, tweaking it, making sure to include as many details as I possibly can. And I gotta tell you more about it after the stream, but it's not pleasant and not super fun. But you got to stick up for your kids, I guess, and I'm more than willing to do it. I'll pay the price.
That's it, man. I'm with you on that. You know how I feel about my kids.
I know. I don't
I back you
understand.
100% on that. There's never any question about me backing you on that.
Yeah. Now, I don't think my kids are like perfect little angels because I've never thought that. Generally speaking, if the boys get in trouble, I'm like, what'd you do? Because I assume they did something. Because I was no angel. I don't know anyone who was. So.
Well, there's more than one kind of angel.
I'm just saying.
There's good angels, and then there's bad angels.
You get parents who act like their children are innocent little babes who never lie and never do anything wrong, and I'm just like, no, I assume my children are going to do things wrong because they're human beings and they're growing up and they're going to have to learn stuff, and that's some of the stuff you have to learn. Like, my son once got punched at school. He was heading to swim practice, and somebody said something, called him fat or something, and he was a middle school student at the time, and he told the kid, I'm only fat because your mom gives me cookies after I make her come. So I was like, well, that's some adult language, but I'd pop you too. Like, you can't just run your mouth off like that. I was like, I hope you learned a lesson.
I would have been on his side.
Well, I'm on his side, but it's like, also
when he said that, I would have been like, oh yeah, that was a good one.
well, trust me, I laughed, but I was like, kid, it's you're not dying. Your eye socket isn't broken or anything. It's like you got popped because you mouthed off. Like, take it as a lesson.
You earned it, but still, I mean, somebody else started it, though.
Oh, I agree, but it was done and over with, and I don't know where the kid was. Like, I'm like, if you're going to be off by yourself, if you're going to sit there and not hunt down this kid, I'm going to be like, nah, how about next time you just don't run your mouth? Right.
I'm not saying hunt down the kid.
Yeah. I'm I mean, I'm saying that, like I understand that my children do things that are, they're human beings. It's perfectly fine. I have no problem. Uh, but at the same time, I want my kids treated fairly. And, if they do something wrong, I want a consistent side of discipline, not some random stuff.
Gotta make it happen.
Hold on. I have no idea what my wife is saying, and I can't hear, so give me a second.
Yep.
Okay, we live in a one-bathroom household. My wife wants to know, in her words, if I want to make a Captain pee-pee before she takes a bath. So,
What?
the answer is yes. I'm going to go. I'll be right back. Okay, so in the interest of science, I have proven, at least with my dog, that Shaun of the Dead was wrong. My dog can look up. Have you ever seen Shaun of the Dead?
Yep.
So, my uncle had a dog named Nibbles who literally could not look up. It was a dumb dog. If you put a book in front of it, it got stuck. You didn't know how to get around it. So, anyway, it was dumb. And literally, like, my uncle was working on his roof and would call down to the dog, and the dog would have no idea where he was because it couldn't look up. It also had a problem with depth perception because it would run off the porch without realizing there was like a 3-foot drop, right? Just had no idea. So, cute dog, but dumb. My precious baby girl. I went to go pee, the window's open, I can see her sniffing around. So I thought I would just say her name and see if I could disturb her. And she looked right up at the window, like, what the hell are you doing? I don't think she appreciated that. But it shows that my dog at least can look up. I saw an open market for, it was Monster and Mafia or something like that. I don't think that was the name of it. It was gangster stuff with monsters.
Because somebody overheard me talking about it.
Well, so then I was like, well, hey, I might have something for this, you know. But I think it had a 5,000 word limit, and
Irony of all ironies, right?
well, and it also had like it was only like $20 a story, and I was like, all right, never mind. But I was like, because I entertained it. And as I have a few more days off than I'm used to, I thought I could. He was like, oh, maybe I could write something. And then I saw how much it paid, and I was like, never mind. Like, I don't mind as long as it's something per word. I'm normally like, all right, whatever. Like if I haven't sold it anywhere else, I'll think about it. But when it's straight $20, I'm just like, I'll pass. Like, if you think about how much time you put into a story, you're going to get paid $20. You're probably getting paid what, $1 an hour?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't want to tell a story for $20 anymore. There was a time that I would have, just because I wanted to sell a story.
Right.
But
hey, Big Walrus.
Matter of fact, when I first sold my first story to Jesse, it was 25.
Hey, Big Walrus wants to know if you do commissions.
I do.
And he does. Big Walrus, is that a cucumber as your profile picture? He's either really slow at typing or he's already gone.
Ding! And he's gone.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of typos you wrote. Yeah. Okay.
We completely understand. We're on your side now.
We first started our writing group with Jake, and we would try typing the comments as we made them, and like it was just like all three of us started to none of us could type apparently, and it's just so bad. So now we do the comments off page and just copy and paste, so it doesn't look so bad. You're sad to see your favorite bald barmaid is gone? Who's your favorite bald barmaid? Oh, it's me. I didn't put my picture back up. Aww. It's been a while since someone called me a barmaid. Last time when I was eating supper while we were doing the stream, because I could get done like Big Walrus said, "My beloved." Anyway, last time when we were doing the stream and I was like, supper had just gotten done before we were supposed to start. So yeah, I just for most of the night I put just your side up because I'm like, hey, you can hear me. You don't need to see my big, fat, ugly, bald head eating pasta. Bye, Schnookums.
I thought that was your kid.
Yeah, it is. I don't know how much you've ever listened to Jordan Peterson or read any of his stuff, but one of the things he says is you're not supposed to let a parent should not let their child grow up to be someone they don't like. And
like, what are you going to do? Stab them to death if they're going that direction?
no, but it's kind of your job to try
Don't let them
to.
grow up that way.
I
You're
think
growing
it's
up
more
the
just
wrong way.
you don't have to accept all of their bad behavior and affirm bad behavior just because you're the parent and you want them to like you. Like, it's really more you need to mold them into something as best you can that you like, because then they're going to be a functioning adult. If you're a functioning adult, you probably like functioning adults, so you're trying to mold your children into functioning adults.
I've got a theory on kids that's simpler than that, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, go ahead with that, and I'll tell you after if I remember.
Well, I can say my children are mostly grown. You know, they're 15 and 17, about to be 16 and 18. And yeah, I like my children. I can hang out. I'm okay with that.
Mine are mostly grown. Like, all of them.
Isn't Eli the youngest?
Yeah, and he's going to be 21, even though he's never going to be, like, on his own adult, but...
You're going to take him out drinking?
No, I've been teasing him for a long time. You want a beer? He's like, no. He can't drink now anyway.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So what was your theory on children?
Well, I think we have just a couple of jobs with kids. And I think that when parents start trying to break it down into more and thinking that they're going to force the issue, make them whatever, that's where you're getting into problems. So for me, the first thing that I believe that the first thing my instruction is to introduce them to God. Whether or not they believe in the manner I believe, or whether or not they believe on their own, they've been introduced. That's my job.
All right.
Then the second job is to teach them right from wrong. And it's so long as they know what's right and what's wrong, the decisions they make are their own choices. You know what I mean? If they don't know, then they're being led around.
Okay.
And then the third one is to make good decisions, which is the hardest one. You know what I mean?
Well,
so if you teach them about God and give them a foundation, and if you teach them right from wrong, this is right, this is wrong, you know that it's clearly right and wrong, that there's no real gray areas. The gray areas are made up to excuse slight bits of wrong, you know, or whatever. And then let them know that there's consequences to their actions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That if they make whatever they make for a decision, they're going to get a result from. So to make more informed decisions is wiser. You know?
Yeah.
Those are basically, the biggest rules right there. The other one that I gave them wasn't a rule, it was a guideline, and that was that your word is worth what you make it worth. So, you know, if you want your word to be worth something, then you have to make it worth something. So I think those four principles pretty much cover most of what you can teach them. All the rest of them, they're going to have to develop on their own. Like, if you get those four principles down, or, you know, at least the latter three, even though you introduce them to God, if they choose not to go to God, that's their choice too. That's a decision. If they choose to go to God, that's a decision, right? But it's their decision to make. They just need to know that there is a decision to make, and that, an informed decision. That's it. So I don't think you can make a kid be likable or dislikable. I think they're going to be likable and dislikable throughout their life. What I like and what you like may not be the same thing, and what their friends like and what they like will change over time too, right? So as long as they're making decisions that they know they're going to accept the consequences on, and they are informed about those decisions, there's not much else you can do, I think.
Okay.
Or feel free to respond. I just was saying that's my.
There's nothing wrong with any of the things that you just said. I just think I don't. It's not a refutation, and I don't know if Jordan Peterson. I'd have to look it up again. If he said, "Make sure your kids are someone you like or someone you tolerate," that might be tolerate. And again, those are things you expect them. Aside from the first rule, the rest of them are pretty much teaching them what's tolerable. And I think Jordan Peterson would probably agree with the first one too, if I understand his positions. But whatever. It was an interesting observation that he had that I kind of liked, and I like your observations too. I think those are you're going through there, and I'm like, all right, I think I've done that one. I've done that one.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not a step by step, because not everybody's kids behave the same. Not everybody has the same tolerances, the same strengths, the same opinions.
Right.
But because I believe in God, that's the first thing that I need to introduce them to. If I don't believe in God, then that's not something that, you know what I mean, then that's not an important issue. Because obviously I don't believe in it, then I'm not gonna try to nurture that belief or even introduce that belief. To me, my job that's my first and foremost job, is to be, the man of the house, and the man of the house is the head of the church of the house, right?
Right.
So, I mean, we're all different, and whether or not, so we all have beliefs, whether or not we want to admit, or whether or not we want to classify them as a religion or not, we still have beliefs. Like you have a belief, even if you're not a Christian, you still have beliefs, right?
Yeah. 100%.
So you're gonna not push those beliefs onto your children, but you're gonna either learn them because you talk to them, or they're gonna learn them through osmosis because they're around those beliefs and the behavior that is related to those beliefs all the time.
Yeah.
That's not judgment or whatever. It's just kind of statement of you can take it in your own hands and say, well, at least I've introduced my beliefs to my kids, and if I'm wrong, at least I tried, or if I'm right, and they don't do it, at least I tried. That's all you can do, right? Try.
Right.
And then after that, those next 3 principles are basically what they need to get by in the world. I don't think you need religion to say things are right or wrong. Although religion definitely does clarify to black and white what's right or wrong. Or, depending on your religion, I guess. So I shouldn't be all stating it like there's no other way or whatever, but I guess to my thinking, you're not indoctrinating them to tell them to know right from wrong.
Got into an argument once because I said Christianity is the right religion. This other college kid was like, "I mean for you," and I'm like, "No, I mean for everybody. If I didn't think it was right for everybody, then I wouldn't. It wouldn't be right. Like,
That's
I'm
right.
not saying that you have to believe in this. I'm saying I believe that anything else is wrong. There's a huge difference.
That's
if you
what
want to be
being a
a
Christian means, right?
ah,
This is what we live by, the principles of Christ, or try to.
yeah.
I mean, because nobody's perfect, everybody's sin. But
I would expect any other religion to feel the same way. Like they obviously believe that's the right way, and I'm wrong, and I'm okay with it.
exactly, which makes it hard for religions to just become a multiple. Hey, it's inclusive for everybody.
Well, yeah, because you start getting, you get schisms and all kinds of things. I
Well,
remember,
definitely you're going to divide up into different groups, because if you believe, if the Bible says something in 3 different parts of the Bible, in the way past, in the what's supposed to be for our learning or living by, and in the prediction of the future,
yeah,
if it says something in all 3 of them, and then the people of today are like, we're going to accept it anyway. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Then
Well,
you're no longer living by that religion.
I just remember
So
in
there's got to be a
college,
break.
I was
Sorry,
hanging out, and I didn't really start going to church until I went to college. So that's kind of an odd thing, but that's where I started going to church. And then I was hanging out with some guys that were part of the church, and one of them was really going down this rabbit hole of Catholics aren't really Christians.
Oh,
And
boy.
he had videos on all this stuff and literature, and I was just like, okay, I'm not a Catholic, and I don't think I'll ever be a Catholic. But, for all their differences, they got the one that I think is most important.
Right.
They recognize Jesus as the Son of God, and they say he's the way to salvation. After that, I get, no, I'm not praying to Mary. No, I'm not, super thrilled with it, but whatever, I don't care. I don't have to do it. And if you want to pray to Mary and then pray to Jesus, I guess, whatever, I don't care. I think you kind of don't need to pray to Mary, but I'm not going to, I think Mary's anti-Christian, so. But man, it was just really getting into it. I was just like, so I started distancing myself from them, because I was like, I don't like the negative aspect of that. Like, it was kind of interesting on an academic level to see some of the differences, but I was like, yeah, that's as far as I want to go.
Right.
Which is funny, because I have very good friends that are Catholic, and there's Jake. He's Catholic, right?
Yeah, me too. I was going to say. Mark, too.
Well, I know you were, but that's okay. I'll forgive you too. I'm just kidding.
I said Mark,
oh,
too. And
I thought you
I
said
am
you too.
also friends with Catholics. I am not.
Oh.
I'm not Catholic. No.
Well, I didn't think you were, but
I'm not anti-Catholic. But,
Yeah.
so I agree with what your original premise was. Like, I don't know if I've worded it the same way, but the same sentiment. Christian means that you believe in Christ.
Right.
And that's it. Like, when you say you don't believe in Christ, then you become either a Jew if you still believe in God, or Islamic if you still believe in God, right?
Or something else. You're just not a
so
Christian.
there's only so many sects that believe in God. One of them believes in God in Christ. One of them believes in God as in they are the only people of God. And then one of them, well, I guess 2 of them believe that they're just different ways about it,
Well, yeah.
I
They're all
can't
connected.
really. What's that?
Well, Judaism is connected to Christianity and the Muslim faith. So,
It is, because it's of the same God.
right.
But they don't believe that Christ was the Son of God. They don't believe Christ was the Messiah.
Right. He's a prophet.
I don't even think Muslims believe Christ was even a rabbi. So,
Oh, I
like,
think they do.
I
could be
hear
wrong.
that a lot of the a lot of Jewish people believe Christ was a rabbi. He just was off the rocker or something. Like I don't want to get too far into that. Like, but I was just saying that I believe you're absolutely right. Whether you're Catholic, whether you're Protestant,
Yeah.
which Protestant covers everything that's non-Catholic, right?
Pretty
So you're
much.
Catholic, Roman Catholic, or unorthodox Eastern Catholic, right? They're all little sects that are separated on one point.
Yep.
I'm given to understand that the actual original church divided over an argument over whether or not Adam had a navel. So they literally broke up into the church and the Church of the Navelines. And that was the first subdivision among the church.
Oh.
I find it completely believable, though. Oh, even though it's silly, I find it completely believable.
Yeah.
Because we
People do dumb stuff.
wake
for
up
religion.
over dumb shit. That's right. We wake up
Yeah.
over the dumbest shit.
Well, that's one of those things I tried to explain to my boys. I was like, look, I have absolute faith in Jesus Christ and the Lord. I have no faith in a church. Like, I'm happy to be there and get fellowship, but I'm like, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, I'm just not fond of human institutions.
Well, see, I think the wording is off a little bit. Because a church is a body of three people believing in God or worshiping God. Where three or more shall be, there shall I.
Okay, I don't
but-
want a denomination.
No, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I think the difference is the word church versus the word religion. Because I believe religion is man-made. It's like all the little subdivisions and little ticks, they're man-made. Versus the church just being a group that worships God, right?
Well, yeah, but once you start having a hierarchy, and all this
Yeah,
other
that's religion. That's religion.
okay.
That's exactly what I was talking about. When you start saying that the saints intercede for us instead of Christ interceding for us, which is what the Bible actually says, then you've got a subdivision, right? Maybe it's a small subdivision, but it's still a subdivision. And those subdivisions end up being different religions. Like, they don't have to be different religions of different gods, but they're different religions because they're different systems of worship. So when you say, organized religion, right?
Right.
But that's not the church, it's organized religion. So you can have a Protestant preacher, because some of them are reverends and some of them are pastors, and they've got different names pretty much too. But you can have a group that believe the same thing, like the Calvinists before the Baptists. But the Baptists broke off from the Calvinists.
Right.
And then the Calvinists broke off from the Lutherans, So, those are different sects, but they're basically different ways of worshiping. And if someone tells you that you have to dress like the preacher, that's religion. That's something that is man-made. That's something that's not in the Bible. The Bible doesn't say you have to dress like anybody. It does make mention of dressing like the other sex, and a number of times. but it doesn't make mention of, necessarily whether you should have. It says, like in the Old Testament, I think, don't cut the corners of your hair or the corners of your beard.
Right.
But men are supposed to have short hair because there's nothing supposed to come between them and God. And women are supposed to have long hair because they are not supposed to put themselves equal with men. And this is according to what's written. So,
Yeah.
But when you start changing beliefs and telling them that you have to do this or have to do that because it's the tenets of your church, it's really the tenets of your sub-religion, your religion, really. So I think it needs to be distinguished. The church isn't a building, and the church is a group of people, but it's not an organization. It's people worshiping God. Like, Christ didn't have a building, and it didn't have this organized system. He just went out and preached on side of the mountains or the beach or wherever, right?
Right.
And it was the same thing with the apostles. So, I mean, we waxed way more religious than we normally do, or way more Christian than we normally do. But just saying that, I agree that if you're a Christian, you just believe in Christ. If you don't believe in Christ or don't believe Christ was the Son of God, you're not Christian, you're some other religion.
Yeah.
But if you do believe in Christ as the Son of God or your Savior, or then you're Christian. That's just it. And that's my stance that nobody really cares about. When we started this channel, I wanted to not be a place where anybody had to be afraid to speak what they believe.
I think as long as nobody says anything threatening or, is...
And I'm not saying anyone else has to believe what I believe.
Right.
But I agree with you that I believe that my belief is right, because that's why I believe it.
Right.
It's kind of a circle right there, right?
It kind of is, but it's also one of those things where because you recognize that's how it is for you, you also are willing to accept that that's how it is for other people and their beliefs. So,
yeah. But that doesn't mean that I'm accepting that their beliefs are that way. It's just that we believe it. That's why they believe it. That's right. The way that they believe it. Sheesh.
And, it's kind of like when I tell my students when they're writing persuasive essays and stuff, I'm like, look, I'm not, it'd be awesome if you could persuade me. That's great. But that's really not the goal. Like, the real goal is so that when I'm done reading this, I understand how you came to your conclusion. Like, it makes logical sense, even if I don't agree with it. And so I understand you a little bit better as a human being. And, if I can recognize that there's some validity there, even if I think it's wrong, it makes for a more, it's not necessarily a compromise, but it's simply it's an
argument.
It's a way of saying, okay, I get what you're saying. That's, it makes sense. Even if I don't agree with it. So, like, when people, as a stupid example, like when people like Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift is the greatest thing ever. And you have other people who think Taylor Swift is the absolute worst. They're like, all right, cool. But you're not going to persuade me to like or dislike Taylor Swift. But, you might explain to me why you like her so much or why you don't like her so much. So that I can weigh those options and be like, oh, yeah, I see your point. Or like the character you're working on now, right? You said so he's like Magneto and T2.
Well, that's kind of the idea you gave me is.
Okay.
Because like, not magnetism, but because he can draw metal from other people.
Well, so I mean, my thing is he's got to touch it. That was kind of my
that's
thing.
something that wasn't in the description that I read.
Well, you're right, but again, it wasn't a complete. I mean,
No. That's why I was saying what I said. I'm explaining why I came to my conclusion.
right.
'Cause I
So
didn't-
I
didn't have that
understand
information.
why why you would think such a thing, and I was like, no, it's not, but it was cool, and that's why I said it's closer to T2, but not really because he doesn't change his. It's not generally a shape shifting thing; it's just an absorption and regurgitation kind of thing. I mean, it's not quite regurgitation, but close. So. And part of me was just kind of thinking of different ways this guy could fight, what it would look like, and, stuff like that. But,
Like, there's a couple of places that I mentioned other things, and like I said earlier, like way earlier, that there's no way that you're going to create something that doesn't remind somebody of something else.
that's true.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Right.
I mean,
That's why I
good
said,
luck trying, but yeah. I'm not too worried about that. I mentioned it in case you hadn't thought of that angle. You know what I mean?
right. And I and it was good that you did mention because I was like, because I don't want you like having him, well, basically be magnetic. So I was like, no.
Yeah, I wasn't
Like-
thinking of them as magnetic.
Okay.
But
It helps me
like,
clarify.
magnetic was just the easiest explanation for what I was kind of hearing or reading,
Okay.
getting out of it.
And I will tell you this: I already know there are characters already named Shiv. I looked it up. There are lots.
yeah,
There
no
are
shit.
several of them, but they're not like this guy. And I may have a different name for him if we really want it. I'm going to look into it. So I had an idea for another one, but I was like, you know what? We don't have to have. Like the name isn't necessarily super important. Although, let's face it, when you said Mastiff, that changed everything. So,
Well, so this is, I guess, a little bit of side information that people may or may not give a shit about. But
right.
I do kind of put store in names. Now, that said, like, Shiv has a meaning, and that's pretty much why you kind of gave him a code name, right? Of Shiv. Because it kind of fits what he is in a way. I like to have names that have alternate meanings, like a deeper meaning. Like maybe you look it up and you'll find that it means something else. When you're reading my regular prose, a lot of times I'll do that. I'll either find a name that has a sound that's a familiar sound. Like, I don't want to copy Darth Vader, but I might want to have something that has that feel to it,
Yeah.
But I also I put stock in the names, so I take my time choosing names. I don't generally just jump into them. But sometimes the name, like what we did with Mastiff, will jump out at me and say, "Hey, this is the story you really want to tell." Like I think with the other one, with Shepard's story, you were really leaning heavily towards focusing on the team too. You wanted to see more because I don't think that you thought that was enough of a story just in its own. Without emulating something like James Bond or whatever, which we weren't trying to do either.
What? Not understand. Okay, so I don't. All right. I'm going to put something in the private chat. If you don't like the name Shiv.
I don't. I don't have a feeling one way or another on it.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually designing this character based on his name and a little bit I know about it.
Yeah. That'll work then.
Yeah, I think that would have different connotations for me completely.
Okay, well then we don't have to worry about it.
But, you know.
Now, if you're happy with Shiv, I'm happy with Shiv.
This is also a possibility if you wanted more original.
Did you ever watch the Ahsoka series?
No.
So, they had a character in there who was a lost Jedi, and he had no access to a lightsaber at all. Like, he's on a planet with no way of getting off the planet. The planet had nothing that could be used to make a lightsaber. And at some point in time, you know, they're fighting, not Ahsoka and him, but this lost Jedi and some evil people, right? And he's using the Force to basically help him fight without needing a weapon. So he's using a lot of Force push and Force pull and that kind of thing. And it became way more like a martial art, right? And I thought that was cool. Like, if you really think about the Jedi, sometimes, you know, it's like, you know, I would think they wouldn't necessarily. Yeah.
You think they'd have an art?
Well, they kind of do with the swords and whatnot, but yeah, it's all very sword based, and I'm like, well, it kind of seems to be like, yeah, like this makes perfect sense and is actually very cool. The way that, you know, I mean, if you think about in episode 7, when we're introduced to Kylo Ren, you know, someone shoots a blaster at him and he just freezes the blaster bolt in air, right? Like, it's just cool. Haven't really seen something quite like that. But it's in keeping with stuff that we have seen. But, you know, so you start extrapolating from some of the stuff, and it's like, yeah, you really should be able to do some pretty awesome things without any weapon whatsoever. And so I thought it was cool. Then I saw people pissed off about it basically saying that they're nerfing the male character so that the female characters get all the real action. And I was like, I get your point, but I think you guys are missing the forest for the trees on this one. Like, it's cool to see this guy be able to take on people who are armed, and he doesn't need a weapon because he has the force. Like, that is completely in keeping with everything they've ever said about the force. So this is one of those times where I'm just like, you guys are just, you're fixated on the MCU and, you know, the force is female and all this stuff. And I get that why you would be, not you personally, but just people would be kind of predisposed to seeing some of the gender politics that go into it. But on this one, I was like, no, I got to give this one a buy. This is just straight up just cool, and they should accept it and be good. But something I saw, and I was kind of floored at what I thought as being really, really neat. Other people were just slamming for political reasons. Yeah, fandom is toxic.
It happens. Once you've been burned a few times, man, it's hard to go back to think that they're going to do something honest. So I can kind of see that too, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I completely understand why they're at that point, but I also think it kind of takes away from your argument when that's all you can see. Because I could even hold on to a certain grain, like they could be partially right, you know. I can accept that, but it's still cool, so I don't care. Like, that political decision came up with that idea. I don't have to agree with politics because the idea is still good. I don't care. It's a good story thing. It's just, I don't care. That's one of those things. Like, I've been watching the Fallout series, and I don't play Fallout games. I played a little bit and just I didn't like it. Primarily because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. I'm an old fuddy-duddy, whatever. But you know, I kept dying way too fast, and just like, all right, whatever. Just, but my boys like Fallout, so they've played it and whatnot. Everyone I have lunch with has played Fallout, except for me, including the guy who's older than me, including the girl that normally is there. I guess there's one woman who might not have played, but everyone's. I'm the minority for not having really enjoyed playing Fallout. But I've enjoyed the show so far. But it's interesting how, yeah, even that fandom has, to some degree, you know, they get pissy with changes that are made or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm glad I don't have to worry about, because I don't know any of that. So I can just watch the show and enjoy it.
And I experienced that a little bit with Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, yeah?
I liked the live action version. It wasn't the cartoon, but I liked it anyway. So, I don't know.
I still say Stephen King is probably right about this for the most part. That, because for years he never really cared. I'm just saying, he never really cared about the movies that were made off of his stuff. He's like, you know,
I find that actually true of most writers.
I liked his explanation that he's like, make whatever movie you want, the book is still there. Well, that's true. You know, so when you look at The Lawnmower Man, which has nothing to do with the story, and I mean,
and actually he sued them to take his name off of it.
Well, that's because that one's probably one of the worst ones, but still.
Because it didn't have anything to do with the story, and they were claiming it was Stephen King's Lawnmower Man.
Yeah. That one was bad. That's probably, I think, one of the worst ones. I mean, the movie wasn't bad, per se. It wasn't the best, but, I mean, the story is about a guy hires somebody to come mow his yard, and the guy the lawnmower guy strips naked and eats everything that comes out of the lawnmower. And when the client freaks out over this, the lawnmower man kills him too and gobbles him up. I mean, it's kind of a ridiculous story, but I don't know how you'd make a movie over that. You could make a Twilight Zone episode maybe, but I don't think you're making a movie if that is the plot. But even, and I know he wasn't real happy with the way Stanley Kubrick did The Shining and blah, 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 but still, the book was there and it didn't really matter.
Well, Bernard Cornwell, who wrote Orchard books, and they did the series of them, he wrote Sharp, and they did a series of movies on Sharp, too, and Sean Bean's first role was playing Richard Sharp.
I've seen that,
but
yeah.
Richard Sharp wasn't blonde. It was kind of a point of contention for a lot of people. But I guess he, in the later books, I haven't read any that support this claim, but there's a claim that in the later books he redid Richard Sharp to fit Sean Bean's description.
Yeah.
But I know, like, when he was talking about it, he's like, I don't care. Like, once I've sold the rights to the movie company or TV company, it's their baby. They do whatever the hell they want to. I'll make money off selling the books.
Right.
But he knew that they made huge changes to The Last Kingdom. They killed off people that didn't die, and they, didn't kill off people who did die. And his response was to guest spot in an episode. So, like, he's fully supportive. It's all fiction, so
right.
I understand on one hand, like, if it's my baby, I don't want it to be fucked with because it's my vision. But on the other hand, I also understand that it's already written down. If people really want to know, and chances are some people are going to come to see those stories from that, right? So it's not really a bad thing, except for if it's such a stinker that everybody hates it.
Right, the franchise.
Clive Cussler wasn't happy with what they did with Sahara.
Yeah.
Now, I have the book. I have not read the book. I've read a bunch of other Clive Cussler stuff, but I haven't read the book. But I've read other Clive Cussler Dirk Pitt novels, and I thought it was pretty well in keeping with the Dirk Pitt novels. Like, it's not perfect in keeping with them, but it's pretty well. So, like, as far as transferring books to movies, it depends. Like, sometimes, like I said, in some cases, the movies are actually better than the book. Chosen of Men, I regret reading that book, but I love the movie.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Silence of the Lambs is a better movie than it is a book. The book's not bad, but the movie, they actually include more clues and more, like, what you know, and you can, it's one of those things where they had the benefit of already knowing the whole story, I think, and so they could just kind of crank it up a little bit, and I think it's very good that way. And I can actually, the book was not bad. I just, the movie was better, which is rare.
Yeah, Philip K. Dick thought that Blade Runner as a movie was real futurism versus his book. He thought it was much better, and he didn't see the finished product. He saw it with the voiceover and no soundtrack.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just depends, and depends on what kind of writer they are too, right? Some or what kind of personality they have, because some people are really possessive, and I can definitely understand it. That's why I said I'm co-writing this novel with another person who had already written a novel. They're just letting me go around and play with their toys and change everything. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine not taking some ownership to it. You know what I mean? Not saying like, wait a minute, don't change that. That's something I spent 6 years on, right? But this guy likes what I'm doing, so he's like, feel free to change it in whatever way. And I keep asking him, I'm like, I feel a little bit guilty because I'm like, I'm changing this and I'm changing that, but here's why. And the reasons are like, instead of the Grand Temple of the Green Emerald Dragon or something like that, I thought it would be much easier to read for young adults if it was just like the Temple of the Dragon, or something like that. I mean, there are small changes like that, and he's like, well, I don't have enough. I don't have a reason for for girl readers to follow it. Is like the audience should be all of boys and girls and adults, so we should be targeting as many people as we can. And I agree, that's generally the idea with a story, is you want to write and not alienate. But he had a mother and a sister character that were there primarily to give his main character a beginning and someone to antagonize him until he went on this super journey, right? And then later on, they were going to show up to be detrimental to him, to like a bad guy kidnaps him, that type of thing.
Right.
And I'm like, why don't you flesh those characters out?
Yeah.
Because a mom of a young boy and a young girl, that's a readership right there. That is a demographic that'll be reading. And a girl 9, 10, 11 years old reading about another girl 9, 10, 11 years old that's involved in this major high concept event. Those are characters that are already built for our women to follow, right? Or young girls to follow. So I didn't think that he needed to create some. What I thought he needed to do was expand on what he already had.
Right.
So that's a lot of what I was doing, is writing to expand, writing to shorten, and writing to clean some stuff up. And then along the way, so because I'm doing it like chapter by chapter, I'm like, oh, well, this should be this way, or because of the build-up that you had of this, then like the whole beginning, he's sad about his grandfather dying, and if his grandfather shows up in the second chapter, then it kind of wastes all that time in the first chapter of him being sad about it, because his grandfather's going to show up anyway, right?
Right.
But in the way that his grandfather showed up, like, I was like, well, you don't have to have him show up there. Someone else can be there and he can show up later on in the same manner,
Yeah.
And then that way it doesn't feel like you've spent all this time reading about this kid that's super sad that, lost his grandfather, only to have his grandfather appear in the next chapter. So he doesn't now.
So,
But yeah, we got
curiosity. How married are you to his hair?
His hair is in a ponytail. I just haven't gotten that far.
Okay.
So the answer is not very, but it was part of the Latino thing. It was going to be pulled back and black and shiny.
Oh, okay.
And tied back into a ponytail. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I was just trying to get some Latino beats in without being overly I don't even know what to call it, racist.
Stereotypical. Well, no, because I was thinking that he was bald, but like, again, this doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't. Like, I just want you to know, I don't care.
I guess I could do him bald. I just was really most of the other characters really either bald or there's nobody that has hair right now.
Well, then, yeah, give him hair. I have no problem.
That's actually what my thinking was. Nobody else has hair at all, so
Okay.
I don't mind. Like I can make him bald. I can.
No. That's fine. I was, because also, like, okay, so at the beginning when you were like, do you want to, what do you think he looks like? And I was like, I don't really care all that much, but, and I told you my two different visions for him. The skinnier vision had hair. So
I didn't think he said
that. Like, if you had wanted to go with the skinnier version, I was going to tell you to look at some of the Fleetwood Mac covers, because especially some of their earlier ones, they got a real thin guy on there, and I thought that was kind of cool. Sorry. Oh. You can tell I have all the windows open because it got hot. Now my allergies are going crazy. Anyway, so but that guy has like a ponytail, and
yeah, that was what I was thinking. I mean, like, he doesn't have to. I really am not married to it, but
I just thought it was kind of funny because when you said ponytail, that was like, oh, that's even funnier because it kind of merges the two. So, works for me.
Yeah, I was like picturing Antonio Banderas in Desperado, or
all right,
something similar to that type of a look.
I was thinking
it's probably really stereotypical. That's the word I was looking for before.
Well, but, I mean, so was I, because I've always had him be I've always thought of this character as a villain. So, like, I was looking up, like, like MS-13 gangs and stuff, and just kind of like that look. And I think it was Ecuador that just had that, they've had that huge crackdown on gangs, and most of the guys that you see there are bald. I don't know if they shaved them or what, so it was just kind of in my head. But yeah, the Antonio Banderas, it's perfectly fine. Especially when you point out, hey, no one else has hair yet. Oh yeah, let's make sure he stands out. It's all good.
It's all, so here's my thoughts.
Okay.
My thoughts are from reading what you had shared with me.
Yeah.
He is not necessarily always walking around like this.
No, yeah.
So I'm picturing at one point in time he's in a suit,
Yeah.
and this would be like when he goes hog wild.
Yeah.
So I was picturing, how is he gonna look really Latino in a suit? Because there's a lot of like Latin actors that you wouldn't think would be Latin unless somebody told you, or you know, like you've seen Blue Blood
with
the cop show
with Tom Selleck.
Yep.
I don't think I've watched it, but I know of it.
Well, the guy who plays his youngest son is Latino,
Oh, yeah.
or he has at least he has a Latino name. There's a lawyer on Law and Order that's Latino that doesn't look Latino at all, you know? Like,
Oh yeah.
so when I say look Latino, because, you know, we've been presented with such a look, you know, in movies and TV for so long that we kind of expect some of it. That's why I also say, you know, if you want to have a different look, we can. The actual face that I was kind of designing him on was John Buscema's not Wolverine, Punisher. Just kind of a little bit trimmer.
Fine with me. I have no problem with that.
Like, if you wanted him bald, like, you just need to tell me that you wanted him bald.
Well, before you got any deeper, I thought we'd discuss, and I am okay with keeping it like we're good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me either. I just was. That's why I asked you. You didn't say anything about the hair, so I just kind of made a last-minute decision as I was going. I'm thinking, you know, Danny Trejo, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what I was thinking. Is like, and yeah, he is a bad guy, so probably that had some influence on that.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
fine.
but
That all works. And later on, if we want him bald, we'll just shave him. It'll still work.
right. Like, well, right now it's white enough in pencil, and I haven't inked it.
Oh, I know. We're good though.
We can pretty much do anything.
Where, you know, I know the nuts and bolts that generally like are kind of like he doesn't absorb metal and be able to push it back out. It's not the character I was thinking, right? But what he looks like, you know, I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, as long as he can do what I wanted him to do, I really don't care. Like, you know, make it cool. So, in the pencil form, it was looking kind of like a buzz cut, I guess, a flat top.
Oh yeah, because I hadn't finished it, so I'm just, you know, like, you should see there's roots right here, but that's it. And like,
yeah. So, again, that's why I said let's talk about that before we get too far. Because part of me feels guilty if I ask for any change after you've gone. You know, I don't
well, you know, if you let me get too far and I'm finishing it off in inks or something, yeah, I'm going to do another drawing later on, and this is going to be my guy.
Yeah.
I've already found a couple of small things that I want to change because it's.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of the fun part of the creation is, especially with working with someone. I mean, part of what I mean, literally, I'm evil. I will go through and kind of some of the stuff I'll keep vague on purpose because I want to see how you fill it in. Like I was in a class for script writing, and it was a really cool class because it was a dual class. So you had the script writers in one group, and then you had the actor class. And so the script writers made scripts that the actors had to do. And so one day our our writing professor went and talked to the actors. I don't know what they said, but the acting teacher came and talked to us, and he said that every actor is going to want to put something into the role. So the more you try to force them into certain things, they're still going to want to put something on it, their own spin. So you kind of have to let the actor have some leeway, because they're going to find it. All right, that's cool. And I've always kind of kept that in mind. And so some of the stuff like where you're drawing, I'm like, all right, there are certain parts that I need, and then there's a bunch of stuff I don't care. Like, it could be all kinds of different things, and I'll just want to see what does Rich put into it. Give you that room to play.
Now, this is still the design area. Like, this is meant to, if we were going to change, this is going to be the area we would change it at. So, like, I wasn't expecting it's going to be perfect the first time out, but that's one of the reasons I drew this off to the side. This is actually a thinner guy. But I was like, man, so I'm sure you've seen Cyborg with Van Damme.
Yep.
The thing I hated most about Cyborg with Van Damme is the bad guy's this long, lanky dude that doesn't look like he's shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all the other guys, you got Ralph Moeller and everything else in there, who plays Conan on the TV show, big, huge bodybuilder. And none of these guys are anything compared to this kind of really just all thin mulatto dude. That's the baddest bad guy you can find for Van Damme. And all of his fighting is punching with one arm. Like punching down with the same arm the same way. And going raw. So, yeah. I want, like, when he said, I didn't know if it was going to be thin, and I'm drawing this, and I did thin, and I'm like, man, he looks like that dude. And I don't like it. Like, that could be okay if he's an underling, but I don't want, no, I mean, like, this is, what you were talking about for him for a position.
Right.
And comic book speaking, he's one of the villains. He's one of the rogues gallery.
Yeah.
This guy wouldn't be one of the rogues gallery. It would be one of the guys that dressed up in a Joker mask or some shit.
Right. The red shirt. Yeah, that's gonna die. No, that's not.
Well, either way, just a guy that's going to get beat up, the guy that's going to have bam, stockpile. So we've got some sharp stuff just coming out of him.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do like Wolverine claws. I didn't want to do like obviously, like I said, no matter what, you're going to have some kind of reminiscence to some other character.
Right.
And this one's a little bit reminiscent of Doomsday, except for it's going to be just metal instead of rocks.
Okay.
But also keeping in mind it's the T2 feature that he can change all this. So you said no moving part.
Yeah, I said it was simple shapes. So yeah, a blade, a ball, just simple things.
My question was more towards whether or not he could shoot one of these spikes off. Could he point and flex and shoot something out of his finger, that kind of thing.
If that's what you would like him to be able to do. I was always kind of...
I was asking if that was, your thinking.
I was always... He was... I mean, for me, he was always more of a heavy that, likes to get up close and personal. The first idea I ever had for this character was, it's not really a story, but it was the idea of him being in prison. And, so he just basically eats into the bars, walks down to somebody else, dismantles the lock, and kills whoever's in there because that was the target. And then, because how do you, your prison has metal bars and whatnot. It was always, so scrapes some paint off, takes the metal. He's in a candy store at that point. And, I've just always, if he was gonna, I don't know if he'd shoot something or if he'd just, push out a blade into his hand and throw it. I mean, that's kind of more what I would think. He has to be something ranged. That's what it would be. But if you really want it to be where he can shoot, the only problem I worry about is...
I didn't want it to be. It was just a question that naturally is going to get posed.
Okay.
I don't want to be surprised later on going, oh, he's going to shoot.
No, he's not. There. Solve that problem. No, he's not.
Right. Solve that problem really easy, but I just wanted to know what you were thinking.
No problem. Glad you asked.
Now we'll put some veins in them,
Who's got to?
Veins are fun. Kind of stuff you make destruction noises while you're drawing.
Have you ever seen the movie The Believers? It's an old one, like early '80s.
I don't know.
It's got okay.
I don't want
It's
to
not
say
early
I
'80s.
had to have, but
It's 1987. I think. As long as that's the right one.
The Believers?
Yeah, The Believers. Yeah, it's got Martin Sheen in it. And, it's basically, I mean, it's a cop dealing with a voodoo cult in New York. That's what it is. That's the basic story. And I remember, I never saw it in theaters. I remember seeing the trailers for it and thinking they were pretty scary. It's one of those things where you kind of develop an idea of what it's going to be like off the trailer, and then you eventually do get to see the film. You're like, oh, that's not as good as I had thought it was going to be. But anyway, it's kind of one of those things where I started kind of basing some of the story off of that film, I guess, or inspired by that film. Because I really can't tell you. Like, I've seen the movie, I know I have, but I can't tell you much of what's in it. I'd have to look it up again or watch it again. But it was something where I was like, oh yeah, that movie, The Believers. So that's why I have that cult in the storyline. And anyway, just kind of the inspiration of it all, I guess. Oh, I better turn this off. Hold on. Nobody has to hear me trumpet my nose. So. When I take a Benadryl tonight, really sleep. By the way, for anyone watching, feel free to comment. Join in on the discussion. Tell us what you think.
such as there is.
Well, I mean, currently we have 3 viewers, and at least 2 of them aren't me. So, at least that's what StreamYard says. Who knows what it's really going to be, but... Yeah, but so you wanted to do the first panel with them out in the wilds or whatever, and I had not originally done that because I had put them in the city. Because again, going back to the Believers, but it was like everything you said. Everything you said about the open, like, you know, let's put it outside so we can show what that's like, and you get to see what these people. I'm like, all right, that works. Like, I just need the character to be kidnapped, and I need the villains introduced, and, you know.
Right. Like, you had specified in the thing that I had read, the first part that I was saying, the sentence. It was only a sentence, but it just, from that sentence, I came up with an idea of how you could get some action going at the beginning, and like the reason that it wasn't set in the city is because you didn't say anything about the city.
Oh, I know.
Because I guess, and the other thing is that I thought the excommunicated lived in the wild.
I'd say they're everywhere.
And
hi, Joe.
That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking that they had lived in the wild, because that's kind of what we had talked about. We hadn't gotten deep into discussion or whatever, but He talks
Joe's
about
here.
them being what they are.
Also, Aaron's here. And currently we're up to 4 viewers.
How they're here for you.
Huh?
I said they're here for you.
Oh yeah, my adoring fans. I don't know who Joe B is though. Who is Joe B?
You do.
Oh, okay. Then I do know. Once you said that, I was like, oh yeah, okay, now I know. And
Yeah,
Aaron
Joe
just put
supports
no
us on
comment.
Joe supports us on 2 platforms.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's all good. You said I harass you all the time. Yes, you did.
No, no.
Joe! No, I'm just kidding. Do the wrath of Joe. Of the wrath of time. Oh.
This guy's got to have at least a certain amount of girth to be able to stop our hero at least once.
Yeah. I was thinking he should have metal nipples. Not really, but I just thought it was funny. So, just one of those silly thoughts that pops into one's head every once in a while. That old saw about, it's so cold I can cut glass or, whatever, but...
Oh, I thought you were playing off of Giger's Species,
Oh, well,
the movie where she was killing people with her nipples.
yeah. Yeah, Giger is one of those artists. It's like on one hand, it's like what he was good at. He was very good at it. His designs are neat, but and you could definitely say, "Oh, that's very Giger-esque" or whatever. It's definitely something you can look at and say, "Yeah, that looks like something Giger would do or would have done." But also, there were times I was like, well, I mean, yeah. But in my brain, sometimes I just think, well, but that's all he did, which is stupid because he did amazing things.
So he was part of an artistic movement called Biomorph that he created Biomech from.
Okay.
And Biomorph includes such artists as Salvador Dali, and so the basic principle to Biomorph is to take something organic and kind of use some repetition to stretch it out into something else. You see that in Dali stuff where he does like animals like elephants with really long giraffe legs and tigers jumping out of tigers jumping out of tigers.
Yeah.
And that was a poor explanation, but so yeah, he come out of the Biomorph movement, and there were other artists in the Biomorph movement, but what developed as Biomech from him is basically because he did a lot more mech than bio.
Yeah.
If you look, he's got like a gun blown up. And when I say blown up, I mean like diagram blown up.
Yep.
And you'll see bullets, but they've got babies' heads. But they're all bullets. And like his famous painting of Lilith and stuff like that, you'll see there's machine parts in there. There's actual machine parts in there. He did a Blondie cover where he kind of pierced her face with, cheeks and stuff like that with long tapers and did stuff like that. But that was actually airbrushed over a photo.
Yeah.
So some of his work was because it was, I think he was more comfortable with machines, than with people.
Hey, Iram says, sup.
Cool.
So,
Sup.
sup.
Careful, you'll make us old guys feel young. And to be politically correct, we just switched the N-word for nickel. Sup, my nickel?
Oh, you gotta be careful with that.
Huh?
Iram, it's a character that we're creating called, currently, tentatively, we're calling him Shiv. And it's a person who can absorb metals and then extrude them back out into simple shapes. Nothing like he's not absorbing an entire computer and spitting out a computer, or he doesn't go into a hardware store that spit out circuitry boards.
And by excrete, he doesn't mean he has to pull down his pants and bend over.
No.
Although that could be a definitive scene in the book.
Oh my god, there was this thing. So, you ever watch Hot Ones?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of. That doesn't mean that that's not.
It's the show where they eat hot wings, like increasingly hotter hot wings, as they're being interviewed. So it's celebrities going through gobs of pain as they're being interviewed. Okay? And if you've never seen it, I highly recommend. But Conan O'Brien was on it. He was like the season finale of this season. And the last sauce, they call it, I think, the last dab. And it's supposed to be ungodly hot. And Conan O'Brien was like chugging it straight from the bottle. And he was rubbing it in his eyes, and he was rubbing it on his nipples. I mean, he was just going all out. And
that's the name of Lace's hot dog.
Well, he said he's a complete wuss, but he just thought it was funny. And so then I was watching a clip from his podcast, and he was talking about the aftermath of all that. And he was telling this story about on the way home, he stopped by a construction spot and was welding girders with the fire coming out of his ass. And one of his co-hosts was like, "You're like the lamest X-Men." And they called him, I think, the ass welder or something like that, or ass weld or something like that. And I really thought they kind of missed it, because it should have been the crack shot. But spice is the only flavor you can taste twice. That's one of those things that, because you don't feel spiciness beyond your, when you swallow, you generally don't feel it in your body until you're defecating. And so some people have suggested that indicates taste buds near your anus.
I don't know about that, but I used to have a hot sauce called Ass Blaster.
Yeah.
It was a 7+.
There used to be a place in Fort Wayne, I think, that advertised AD wings. Stood for Ass Destroyer. So, my thing is, I don't want to hurt when I eat. Like, I don't mind spicy food as long as it's adding to the flavor and I can still taste and enjoy myself.
That's my rule. Like, the limit for me for heat is when I can't taste the food.
Yeah.
Like, I want to taste what I'm eating, and I don't mind hot. Matter of fact, I like hot, and there is some validity to the fact that a certain amount of heat will actually give you a buzz.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the people that love hot foods will make hot ice cream or hot cookies or something like that, because it still gives them the effects. And it doesn't have to be wings or sloppy stuff.
Did you ever try that Mountain Dew that was spicy?
Nope.
Oh God, it was like drinking stomach acid. Like, it's acid reflux in a bottle. And I don't know why anyone ever drank that or thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I stopped drinking Mountain Dew a long time ago.
Iron said, "I love spicy food so much that it gave me food poisoning." I remember I had a job interview once in New Mexico, and it was out in the middle of nowhere, and I was too young to rent the car, so my wife had to do all the driving, and that did not make her happy. And for some reason, she refused to stop to get supper until it was almost midnight, and the only place we could find open in the middle of nowhere was this bar. So we go to this bar, and yeah, they've got little chilies next to some of the menu items, but I don't think anything of it. By the way, Joe says, Rich says that as I am sipping on a Mountain Dew. Yeah, well, somebody's
I didn't say anybody else couldn't, but I couldn't because I'm diabetic, so I had to stop drinking that shit a long time ago. I didn't have a choice.
So we had that. I ordered whatever, some kind of pork carnitas or something. And it was so hot. I mean, I remember I ate all the tortillas. Like, that was when I was introduced to buttered tortillas. I never put butter on a tortilla, just eat it like that. My wife was like, yeah, you're supposed to do that. Oh, okay. And I was miserable. And I was miserable all the next day. I was so miserable that when we got to the hotel room, I filled up the tub with cold water. So every time I got done using the bathroom, I could sit my butt in it and just get some relief from all of the pain. It was, oh God, I don't know how people can stomach that. That was probably the absolute worst spicy food I've ever had. And the bad part is as I'm eating it, I'm enjoying. I'm like, this is good food. But then the heat was just too much. You know, you start sweating everywhere. You know, just oh. My wife thought it was hilarious. But again, I don't think she liked having to drive because, you know, driving from Indiana to New Mexico is a little bit of a drive.
A little bit. Just a tad bit.
Yeah. That was the only time in my life, I think, that I've seen an elk out in the wild. And God, those things are just huge.
We see a moose for the first time out in the wild.
Wow. Elk was bad enough. I mean, it was funny. We were driving along, and there's signs, and there's some creature on the sign, and my wife and I can't figure out what creature they're trying to warn us about because we've never driven anywhere where you had to watch out for the elk until finally one of the signs had the picture and the word elk on it.
That's like, irony because, you know, there's Elkhart, Indiana.
Yeah. I was like, oh, those are elk. And my wife's, you mean like that one? And I look over to where she's looking at, there's this elk standing in the road, towering over anything that, you know, they're huge. And I remember it ran across the road and jumped over this fence like it was nothing. And I was just like, God. You know, I don't know. The pictures I've seen of elk and the statues I've seen of elk, you know, don't really do them justice.
There's no, nothing to gauge it by. You can't put a quarter next to it and give you an idea of the scale.
So, he can only absorb metal. So, literally, it's got to be metal. And I suppose
that's the way I feel too. It's got to be metal.
It's got to be metal.
Metal.
So he, you know, is there a limit? Yeah, I'm sure there is. Have we quantified it? No. Joe said the elk in Florida are huge. I didn't realize that Florida had a lot of elk. Welcome, Oversteer. Oversteer says he should do Stone and Crystal too.
That'd be infringing against somebody else's character somewhere along the line, I'm sure.
That was kind of. Oh, you changed your name. Okay. Well, still, we're glad you're here. I would never have known. You could have lied the entire time. But that's part of the thing. Currently, at least, his name is Shiv. Because, you know, you think about what a Shiv is. You know, it's a makeshift blade. That's kind of what he tends to do. So I'm not exactly sure how Crystal and Stone would. Oh, you Master of Disguise. Have you ever seen the movie Master of Disguise?
Yeah, it was turtling enough for me.
Yeah, but that part with the turtle makes me laugh every time. Am I not Turtleina with the turtle cloak. Yeah, love it. It's one of those guilty pleasures. It's like, I know this is garbage, but I can still enjoy it. Oh, yeah, Joe. Yeah, so this is going to be kind of our big heavy for the comic. Oversteer, who once was Iron, said, "Have you seen Attack on Titan? The characters should be able to do something like that."
Well, then that would be stealing Attack on Titan's character. And I have seen the Attack on Titan. Just ended before it's done yet.
So Joe said, "Steal, steal, steal," and Overseer said you could borrow the ability. One might say that Attack on Titan took it from X-Men because Emma Frost had diamond skin. That is true.
So then it'd be like twice stolen.
You're never going to get, well, that's not true, but you are unlikely to ever get a purely original idea. Or you could be like Rich and just say you're never going to do it, but that's okay.
I don't believe you're going to come up with something that somebody else hasn't thought of.
That's okay.
In one way or another, period. Like, but other than that, like...
Yeah, we've had that fun. We're not getting into that one again. No, no.
At least not for now, anyway.
Yeah. Overseer said, speaking of X-Men, X-Men 97, peak fiction. I literally have not watched the X-Men 97 yet. I haven't had time. I'm behind on almost everything. Like, I wanted to watch Bad Batch, because the whole season's out, the last of it. Still haven't. Like, I'm only... First two episodes weren't that good. But the third one I liked, and I've enjoyed it more since. So I just have, although now I have more time. Joe said exactly. And Overseer said no. And then yo. And Bad Batch, incredible. Okay. I just haven't seen the rest of the season, so I don't know yet. Just, again, haven't had time. It's the wrong time of year. Oh.
Day jobs.
Well, yeah. Well, I got one. Says that I'll be back. I need to brush my teeth. Have you finished seasons 1 and 2? Yeah, I'm caught up. I'm on the last season. I just haven't finished that season yet. Yeah, Joe, I think I'm on episode 6 or 7 of Fallout. So that one took me a little while to get into. Some of it I just, like that first episode, like Eddie's show, you know how they have to introduce everybody and it's kind of awkward. I always think that the first show is awkward. And it took a while for me to be able to really get into it. But now that I'm in it, I'm in it. Oh, they reckon. I thought Ventress didn't die. Because in Clone Wars, I thought her and Ahsoka at the end kind of teamed up and she ran off. Joe said he's on episode 4 or 5. But yeah. Yeah, I haven't gotten to any Ventress in the Bad Batch yet. That'll be coming. I knew she was coming. But I had not seen it yet. Did you ever watch the Daredevil film with Ben Affleck?
You talking to me or are you talking to somebody else?
You.
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
I thought he looked like the gay owl.
Oh, I was not expecting that.
Well, I didn't like his costume. I understand why they did it that way.
Yeah.
Especially after listening to people who had played Batman.
Yeah.
Talking about the costume actually makes it so you can't hear.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer was talking about it. He couldn't wait to play Batman, and when they gave him the opportunity, he put on the suit and he hated it because he couldn't hear anything. Couldn't hear the cues, couldn't hear, the lines. And Daredevil should be able to hear. They should be making special compensation in his suit to make him be able to hear. I kind of understand why they did it, but yeah, they look like a big gay owl.
There were some parts of the movie, like, I know people pan it all the time. I didn't think it was terrible. I was entertained.
For what?
But Bullseye. One of my favorite parts of that movie was, I forget if he's on a plane or a bus or what. He's on some kind of public transportation and flicks a paper clip that he's unfolded and kills shoots it right into somebody's open mouth and kills them.
Right.
And it's a very, he's, surrounded by people, but does it very, very subtly so that nobody knows it's him. And I always thought,
I actually think I'm in the minority on liking him playing Bullseye.
Oh.
Most people I know didn't like him playing Bullseye, but I kind of did. I kind of thought he did a good job.
I did not like the prosthetic forehead they put on him, but
Well, yeah. Well,
It was a stylistic choice.
Didn't say that I liked the costume. Matter of fact, I was alluding to not liking the costumes.
That's fine.
But
I do remember that part and thinking that was pretty badass. I like the idea of the wolf amongst us. This person who's really good at, he can kill people while he's surrounded by people and they don't even know what happened.
Yeah. Like I said, that's why I said I liked who they chose to play Bullseye. I even think he took it a little bit over the top, but I think that's kind of what they wanted.
Yeah.
Like Bullseye in the comics, if it's funny, but Patrick Warburton would be one of the perfect people to play Bullseye as far as how he looks in the comics. Got that nice square chin and kind of beefy face like that.
One thing. Oh, I'm gonna hide these monsters. The real stars of the art. But that's kind of why with this character, I wanted something that would be very easy to conceal and incredibly deadly. And that's kind of what I came up with.
He's not easy to conceal now.
Well, there, in that picture, but I'm saying he could walk through, he could walk through a normal city and no one would know necessarily if they didn't know who he was. That's right, Joe. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe, or follow, or all the little things that they want you to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the Lucky Charms button, whatever buttons. Hit them all, just smash them. In fact, there we go. Just put that right there. Oversteer's back.
Welcome back. Oversteer said that I'm holding a toothbrush, a dangerous weapon. Can be a shiv.
Could be.
Just heat it up so it's melting and then twist it to a point.
Okay. You know more about these things than I do.
Apparently.
Yeah, you do, because I didn't know that. So it makes perfect sense. I'm not denying it. I'm simply saying, never thought of that.
That's why they do rubber-handled toothbrushes now, because they used to do the plastic, and they take a light end of the plastic and twist them to very fine points. And
You tried to carve. Oversteer said, I tried to carve my initials in a moose once. How'd that work?
The question is whether it was dead on a table or...
Yeah, was it a chocolate mousse? Or was it a, kind of monstrous beast that will take you down? Yeah, I'm sure moose bites can be pretty dangerous. Overseer said, moose bites can be pretty dangerous. Yeah, I'm sure they can be. I think moose in general can be pretty dangerous. Anything that large can be pretty dangerous. Oh, it's a Monty Python. I guess I didn't catch that one. It's not one that I know. That's for Monty Python and the Holy Grail? When? I'm not saying you're wrong, I just don't remember it. Well, that would, yeah. Yeah. I always find it kind of sad when I have students who have never heard of Monty Python. Joe said, funny movie, I always forget some of the lines in that movie. Okay. And Overseer said it's the most famous movie. I don't know about that, but yeah. I show clips of it to my students. Like when we're talking about divine right and natural order, because it comes up a lot in Shakespeare. I'll play that wonderful clip with King Arthur going through the countryside, and it's got those peasants, and they're in a narco commune, something. I mean, it goes on and on. It just basically, these peasants refuse to acknowledge, King Arthur as a king, and it's just, I find it hilarious. But
you talk about manifest destiny?
No, divine right. The idea that the king gets to be king because God made him king, and natural order. The idea that everything has a place to be. That's which feeds into manifest destiny, but is separate. Yes, mandate from the masses, bloody peasants. That's right.
Mandate of heaven.
Joe said.
Too.
Joe said, a couple years ago, I drew a knight fighting a bunny. And Overseer said, mandate from the masses. Not just because, not just because some tart in a pond lobbed a sword at me. Yeah, love that line. The sad part is, I'll show that to some students, right? And they never laugh. It's just,
What?
it's not slapstick, so they don't get it.
you want.
Oh,
You have
not happening.
to, sir.
Those students have a 7.
Huh?
Well,
Well,
to be fair, it's kind of
Their
hard to have
parents.
some. Well, I mean, when you're told watch this or read this, once it's a sign, it tends to kill whatever it is. Because they have to watch. I may be young, but I appreciate the 20th century. I think it was the deadliest century so far. It was pretty darn deadly. World War I, World War II, our revolution. Yeah. The Holocaust. It had its ups and downs. Yeah, it did. That's just. That's one way to put it. It had its ups and downs. Think so, Joe? You think this century is going to surpass the 20th in amount of death? There'll be more people, so more people can die. So,
well, it's still
mathematically,
way
21st
early
century
yet.
Well, it's about a quarter over. It's almost a quarter over.
This century?
Yeah. World War I was already over by now.
Yeah, but we're still at war.
That's true. We're still. The military-industrial complex. Ike was right.
Sounds like an STD.
Military-industrial complex.
Yeah, kinda.
Overseer said, "Did you know stormtroopers were elite German soldiers who went through battlefield after a bombardment with light arms and picked off Allied forces?" Well, I knew there were stormtroopers. I didn't know that's what they were. Oh, I think we're going to lose a viewer on Twitch because my computer can't handle it. It really doesn't like watching a video while I'm watching another video. Oh, and now we're off.
What?
Oh, it's my internet. It's just you went and I just you went black. Had the little circle, and Twitch was having a problem keeping up, so I just turned it off. Although I turned it off, and it still says we have 5 viewers, so who knows? I do not know the band Saint Motel.
Huh?
Have you ever heard of the band Saint Motel?
Saint Motel?
Yeah. Oh, nothing. My wife decided to go to bed. Overseer said that my face appeared the same way God's face appeared to King Arthur and Monty Python. Ain't that the duck truth? Overseer said my autocorrect is killing me. I just
That's what it's supposed to do, right?
yeah. That's a lot easier. You know, I keep getting these different notifications, you know, like the different AI products that they're trying to push. Like Google has theirs and Microsoft has theirs.
Facebook has theirs.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to use that. Leave me alone. Saw a great meme though. It said we've definitely screwed up this AI thing. I do not need AI to do, you know, to write books and make art. I need AI to wash my dishes and fold my laundry.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Well, even without me, we're up to 5 viewers. So, welcome, all of you. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe, follow, whatever it is.
They're all waiting for us to fight.
There's this cooking show on YouTube that my son and now my wife both watch. Not because they want to make anything this guy makes, but because of how bad his, like he'll be cooking, and then eating chicken that is clearly pink. Like it is. Oh, the first video I saw was Aunt Myrna's party cheese salad, and it was just terrible. And it's just, the guy is a walking case of salmonella. I think. I don't know. It just, it's like watching a car wreck. You know, we're watching it to see how bad it's going to get, and I don't know what makes me angrier: the fact that this guy's eating pink chicken, or the fact that he has way more views than what we get.
People that do stupid shit get views.
Yeah.
People like to watch train wrecks.
We should just get into a fight at the end of every show. That's it.
It's catching on.
Yeah.
Last time, though, we got into a fight. That was the highest rated show we had.
No. Drama farming. That's what Joe said. Joe said we were drama farming.
Yeah. We would be if we were, hunting for it.
Mayhaps.
We support farming.
Yeah. Overseer said this character should be able to regenerate limbs.
Or what? Oh.
Overseer said this character should be able...
We kind of have a... limitations, which when you have a character that's got no limitations, they're kind of boring because they've got no limitations. But he's pretty massive, and his limitations is his mass. So he can, if he wants to be a skinny guy, he can make a huge blade.
Does he have a tragic backstory? Not yet. He has a mysterious
It has
backstory.
something to do with killer tacos and hot sauce.
Wow.
And salmonella.
Yeah.
His best friend used to be salmonella.
Sal. No. Yeah. He went on the raw chicken diet. You just have to eat a hunk of raw chicken before every meal. And you will lose weight because you'll probably end up dead. But or you'll never eat because you can't stomach the idea of eating raw chicken. That's you. It's kind of funny because I've looked at beef and thought, yeah, I could eat that raw. My wife's father used to roll up raw hamburger and I think put some pepper and salt on it and would eat little raw hamburger balls.
It's pretty nasty.
Doesn't seem as nasty as raw chicken.
You're eating a lot of grease. Well, yeah, I mean, either one is nasty.
Well,
I'm not saying one's nastier than the other. I'm just saying it's nasty.
I am. I'm saying raw chicken is definitely nasty.
Man. Nasty's nasty.
Raw chicken is way worse. Oversteer said, I look at people and go, yum, I could eat that.
Well, some people.
That depends on what you mean by eat.
Eat. Right. Depends on what you mean by taco.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe, I agree. Raw beef will probably be okay. In fact, I know there are dishes made from raw beef.
Well, here's the caveat. Right now, they're finding avian flu in the raw beef.
This character is it's a new addition to something that we're working on. So he's the the hierarchy of villains, but
he's in the rogues gallery. He's like one of Spider-Man's bad guys, except for it's not Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and there's a bigger bad guy, I think.
Yeah, there is. Well, again, I mean, it's not really. I don't know if it's called a universe, but yeah, it's you have
our universe
hero. You got to have a villain. So.
That's I think it is a universe. It's like our universe. Like
okay,
the Marvel universe is all those characters are in the Marvel universe, right?
Yeah.
Until they started doing the multiverse and saying, oh, they're not in the regular universe. We only have one universe, and right now it's just kind of a small part of that universe. Well, someday we could explore history and whatever, but...
Dimension 19999. That's what Overseer said.
Huh?
Oversteer said Dimension 19999.
Oh, yeah. 1999?
Yeah. Well, with an extra 9. The OG Marvel one is 616. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what they decided much later than OG.
Yeah. I just don't understand why. If you have to have all these different universes, I don't know. Like, why do they have to connect in any way, shape, or form? And that's part of the thing with they don't want to kill off anybody, and they don't ever want to end a title, so they never really finish. And they want to have their cake and eat it too. I have not read that Marvel comic that's set in the past, although I think there's more than one.
What's that?
Overseer said, "Have you read that Marvel comic that's set in the past?" And the Marvel
You of
16.
them. 1662. No, I didn't. But
Yeah, I haven't read it.
there's a few of them that dip into the past and the future.
Yeah. I mean, and quite frankly, like the opening credits of that first Wolverine movie would have made a better film than the rest of the movie did. But
Origins.
yeah, the very first one where they took off Deadpool's mouth and stuff. They show
I think that was Wolverine Origins, right?
I think it was the first Wolverine film.
Because the first, like, there's Wolverine, the Wolverine,
Right.
Frank Miller's with the Silver Samurai and all that.
But seeing Wolverine and Sabretooth fighting like in the Civil War and all these different wars, I thought looked kind of cool. Like I was like I really think that would have been a better movie than what we got, but whatever. Anyway, Overseer said there was a what-if based on it, and Doctor Strange loses his head. And Joe B said, yeah, Wolverine, that opening timeline, yeah. And then Overseer, movie Deadpool was cursed. And Joe B said it was Origins. A lot of comments all at once. Joe, I thought that was the end of Deadpool. Like the second Deadpool. Because he had the whatever that he stole that thing from Cable, and yeah, he shoots Ryan Reynolds in the head, so Ryan Reynolds never does the Green Lantern film. Then he shoots the other Deadpool. Just all kinds of stuff. I think it's funny how people did not like the Green Lantern suit because, you know, it was animated. And I'm like, it's made out of light. Like, I thought that was a great idea. I thought the problem with the Green Lantern film was their villain was stupid. Over says, all right, gotta go, guys. Gotta go study chemistry, unit 2, energetics, group chemistry. Yeah, that word, and alcohols. Oh, okay. Have fun.
Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
See you on the David Finch fan server.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff. Well, chemistry is definitely that was the one subject I really struggled with. Now, part of that was my fault. Part of it wasn't, but mostly it was my fault.
What?
Well, you know, I took chemistry and barely pulled off a C, which in my house growing up, anything less than a C just meant death. So I nearly did not make it through high school. But just part of it was I was immature and I was goofing off and, you know, had a social life, that kind of thing. But it's always left a bad taste in my mouth. Overseer said, did you know that pH is based on hydrogen ion concentrations? Nope. Your blood acts as a pH buffer by forming carbonic acid, which dissociate into bicarbonate ions, CO2. See, this is an educational show. We're watching, we're learning.
I know ravaging the specter of lysergide composition, but that's because I love the album.
Science.
Well, it is science.
Yeah.
But the bands are a bunch of guys that were training to be coroners. So, you know,
Past
they had
11 p.m. here. Much too
Yeah,
late for
sounds
big
like
word
that.
usage. Later,
What's that?
Joe. Joe's leaving. Too many big words. Also, Overseer said au revoir. Oh, yeah, that. You know, French bot.
Au revoir.
Au revoir, yeah. Oh, God. There's a... Oh, Overseer said it's 8:45 a.m. over wherever he is. Or she. Overseer, I don't know.
I'm guessing that's overseas.
Yeah. But,
From where we are.
okay, we might randomly be here, Oversteer. Also, we stream normally every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Well, I post in David Finch fan server before I even go anywhere else to post. Because
Yeah, we're in the USA.
When I started. What's that?
Overseer said, I predict you're in the USA. Yep.
Well, since we've been saying from the beginning that I'm in Maine,
Yeah.
and he's in
So-
Indiana.
Overseer just said Saturday, yes, I'm free then, which is awesome. But Rich, on this Saturday, are you going to be able to stream? Don't you have a wedding?
Yeah. But we'll probably be back in time because we're not going to party or anything.
Okay.
We're too old to party, so.
Eli was excited to go, so I just.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even know for sure what time we're going out there, but it's his cousin, and they're doing all adult stuff, so it's going to be probably not all that long into it that we're going to take off, probably dinner time or something like that. But we'll put in an appearance and
Right.
wish the happy couple happiness, that kind of thing.
Overseer said, I'm 9,316 miles away from you guys.
Yeah.
But he's using miles, so it's not kilometers.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. He's probably speaking our language. So where are you at, Overseer?
Steer.
Australia, one of the island countries.
Overseer said, I understand the American language.
Well, that's because it's everybody's language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, everybody wants to speak American.
Yeah, just watch a movie. They all speak English.
Well, from what I understand, actually, it's very commonly taught everywhere.
I sometimes moonlight as a recruiter for Americans. That's cool.
I sometimes moonlight as a responsible adult.
Oh.
I had a PT today, and the therapist said something about, oh no, it was the day before yesterday. Said something, and then she goes, irregardless.
Oh.
I was so tempted to tell her that's not a word.
Yeah.
You mean regardless? Irregardless. That sounds like a new lie.
What?
Yep. He doesn't have to go to school because, he's still recovering. Which is really odd because he still wants to go to school. Yes, I know, Monday. He's yelling from the steps. Not tomorrow, Monday.
Aaron said, good night, everyone. Get late for me. Yeah.
Quitters.
B said, India?
What's that?
Joe B asked if it was India. I'm assuming referring to Overseer.
Oh, yeah. We see a lot of people too from like the Philippines and guess we kind of got it. We have a small audience, but it's an international audience.
Yeah, that's true.
These friends from somewhere over there too.
Well, Aaron's from Indiana. So. Ugh.
So it's not even last call where he is.
No. But it's still late.
Does he have the job similar to you?
No.
Very much.
We can't.
做什么？你做柴吗
Maybe.
Maybe, but I hear that. Okay.
Did he just say, does Brett want to fight?
Come on, eh?
No, he said job site tomorrow, and I said maybe, and he said, "Hear that, Brett? Maybe."
Okay.
like you're his witness.
Yeah.
去做什么？Come on, do that. 我他妈热的，去做什么上？
Can take a shower tomorrow morning by himself.
No more.
Okay.
Anyway, that.
That cracked me up because he was basically using you as evidence.
Yeah.
You heard him. You heard what he said.
I'm the witness. You said maybe.
Only the trick is I don't have any control over it. Like if I had control over it, if I had the choice, yeah, he'd go. Because he looks so much forward to it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's pretty close to what I can get done before I have to start inking.
Okay. Oh,
Close up, see if it's
nice. I
I
think it.
have to enlarge the screen to see how it looks to everybody else.
Well, I dig it. So.
Cool. So we've got a couple of character sketches that look worth a damn, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll end the stream early. Well, early for us, 3 hours. Yeah. That's actually pretty much right on target for us, right?
Oh, yeah. Right.
3.5. Well, you had said something about wanting to say something off the air. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I
so-
can't do it on air.
Right. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Oh, all right. So,
Let's go like that.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Uh-oh.
Thanks everybody that liked and subscribed and commented.
Yeah.
We definitely
Thanks for
thank you for
comments.
being here. Good night. God bless. Much love.
Peace out.